Please remember that everything I say here is just my opinion, and if you enjoy a piece of music that I review, that is completely okay. It is also okay to disagree with my takes. You know, I am a K-pop fan. I'm not the arbiter of all truth, and it is also completely okay to disagree with my takes if you so choose. Hi, I know that my first video is kind of like kicking the hornet's nest, but hopefully I come out of this alive. I'll introduce myself. The channel is made up of two people, B and E, and I am B. So I was part of a dance crew in college. We did K-pop covers, so I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to K-pop and its music. I've been a fan since COVID, which I can't believe has already been 6 years. Some would call me relatively new to the fandom. However, by some standards, I'm kind of like a middle-aged fan, which is weird to think about. I don't know how I feel about that. 방탄소년단, or BTS, officially debuted on June 13th, 2013, which 13th anniversary is coming up soon. Yay! But they weren't the global superstars that we know them as today. While they may have started off as a group of teenagers and young adults, they quickly grew to become the face of K-pop. They initially debuted to moderate success, but all of that would soon change.
Starting the band, there's no way you expected, okay, we're gonna be up there just like BTS. We'll be at the same level as BTS.
When we debuted, BTS wasn't the BTS today even.
BTS broke into the mainstream South Korean charts with their song I Need You, and quickly became a viral sensation with their second single, Dope. This was both the international market and domestic market's first taste into what BTS could offer musically. They also kept this momentum going by creating this reality TV show called Run BTS. While they may not have been the first group to ever start vlogging, their variety show certainly helped showcase each member's unique personality, as well as sustain interest in the group between each comeback. The rhetoric around selling out is far more complex than most people give it for. The line between doing something organically and selling out is a little bit blurry, and this is especially no different in K-pop, which is notorious for its difficulty to determine whether or not a group has sold out. Some may argue that because a group debuts under a big label, that they already sell out because they have that monetary interest in trying to make the next big thing. In some cases, selling out is simply a byproduct of the capitalist nature of South Korea's music industry. The definition of sellout I will use in this video is when a group compromises their history, their artistic vision, or morals in the pursuit of financial gain. This is precisely why the arguments around BTS selling out are so difficult to pin down. Because to a lot of people, simply chasing popular trends and trendy sounds is the definition of selling out. But I think there's more nuance to that. For BTS, 2017 and 2020 are often cited as the group's most egregious sellout eras. However, while I can agree that 2017 can be marked as a turning point, I don't fully agree that it qualifies as a sellout era. I still think that some of the songs from that period held on to BTS's original artistic vision, and in my view, I think that the real sellout era sort of started with the Map of the Soul 7 series. It's mainly because the broader internationalization push that followed from that, as well as dipping its toes into collabs with major American artists, it definitely started showing a pretty iffy shift towards selling out. There is something important to be said about selling out, and it is that the vast majority of popular groups, actors, artists, and idols will sell out once they reach mainstream success. I am not a capitalist realist, and I don't believe that the pursuit of art, or even art being popular, even necessitates this. However, because of the pressure that labels place on their artists to deliver bigger profits with each successive release, it is sadly common to see groups sand down their rougher, more unique edges in order to capture a larger and larger share of the attention market. And that's like sort of the nature of capitalism and art, is that art is a fundamentally human thing, and I view that capitalism sort of tries to make it inhuman by commodifying it, turning it into a product that can be bought and sold, and that is simply why I think that, capitalism is ultimately the worst thing that has happened to music, because it forces so many otherwise talented musicians into positions where they can't refuse the stardom, the selling out. They can't refuse their label's wishes. This is most visible through BTS's hip-hop line, which, to be fair, already had a smaller presence in the group's music from debut to right before 2017-ish. Over time, they were pushed further and further into the background in favor of the vocalists, who were seen as more commercially viable. I find this deeply frustrating because it hurts fans, it contributed to burnout within the artists themselves, and it fuels the ongoing negative sentiment towards that group, even among the people who still consume their products. I think this is a key reason why BTS is sort of being seen as a lolcow amongst their peers, as well as a growing portion of their own fan base, who want them to make something that isn't artistically bankrupt, which is a perfect segue into the next section. Oh my fucking god, this album, oh my god, it stinks. So, if I already had problems with the direction BTS was heading in before they sold out, these problems are best exemplified here. Words are almost not adequate to describe how unintentional and soulless this album feels, and it pisses me off. I hate it because one of the big reasons why I was so disappointed with what the direction went is that it's from the marketing, ARIRANG being a Korean name, as well as sort of an emphasis on like going back to the past, because it's like a new era, that sort of thing. Oh my god, they kind of like baited everybody, at least in my opinion. They baited me, because I thought they would sort of return to their more hip-hop roots, and in some ways they did, but we'll just see how I feel. So, quick speed round on my opinions on each track. Body to Body. Some cringeworthy lines like, what you need, tween? But it set my expectations a bit higher than the rest of the album ultimately delivered. I give it a 7 out of 10. Hooligan. I'm a fan of alternate R&B and hip-hop, but holy shit, I cannot stand any of the verses here. It sounds super lifeless. Using laughter as a main motif, it just doesn't work for me. 4 out of 10. Aliens is baffling and generic. Jimin, please, for the love of God, consider vocal rest and recovery. 2 out of 10. Fire. JPEG Diplo. What are y'all doing? The beat is fine, but the lyrics are unfortunate. 5 out of 10. 2.0. Why use the 80s hair metal snare drums? The instrumentation feels incredibly sparse, lazy, the verses sound lifeless, and the whole thing is super larpy. I mean, it's like, we gon' knock, 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 knock. Like, I don't know, their use of AAVE, it sucks. I give that a 2 out of 10. Number 29. Did they forget to include the audio file, dude? 0 out of 10. Swim, I'll be honest, this is one of the better songs off the album, but it lacks any of the bite of their previous work. It's just kind of boring. 6 out of 10. Merry-Go-Round. We got SZA and Tyler the Creator at home. It doesn't do anything unique, but it's inoffensive. 4 out of 10. Normal. I'm not sure what this song is trying to be. It's not one of the worst on the album. Jimin actually sounds better than usual here. I can't say the same for B. 6 out of 10. Like Animals. A little bit of a sleeper hit, but it relies on a line cliche, which I've heard far too many times. 6 out of 10. They Don't Know About Us. Don Toliver at home. It's just an incredibly generic moody trap song. What can I say? 4 out of 10. One More Night. It's a serviceable dance track, but it lacks any of the edge that I was hoping for. 5 out of 10. Please, and a generic entry into a long line of vaguely hip-hop adjacent songs. 5 out of 10. Into the Sun. Guys, the vocoder is a powerful tool, but holy shit, it sounds like ass. It's so ass. 1 out of 10. An average score, I would say I'd give the album a 4.1, averaging out all of those scores. This album is a mess from top to bottom. It sounds like a collection of leftover singles from each of the members' individual solo projects, thrown together with almost no rhyme or reason, no cohesion, no unifying themes, no vision, no nothing. I just was like, whatever. I think what makes this especially painful is that in terms of style, our friends are a bit washed up at the moment. Of course, I could cherry pick clips out of context, but even having watched full performances, it's clear that they need more time before they're ready to be back out there. A little rust is completely understandable, but I mean, if we think about like EXO and Taemin, they're moving like they haven't even like aged, you know? It's like, holy shit, BTS, they're like, it sucks. Every song on this album seems engineered to appeal to a specific niche in the American market, yet it sort of fails to authentically execute a single one of the genres it attempts. It seems that they sort of bit off more than they could chew. If they make another album, big if by the way, I sincerely hope that they focus on building a narrative, committing to an artistic vision, and making something with genuine soul, because this is not how BTS should be remembered. That said, I don't really even blame BTS much for this, for the output that they made. In addition to corporate pressures exerted by Hitman Bang, who is currently facing legal proceedings, they were pushed into making an album designed for commercial success rather than a cohesive expression of what they value and who they are as a group. Okay, and then here are all my sources. Thank you so much. This is my first review, and I'm gonna try to do something weekly. I don't know. It's probably not gonna be as in-depth as this. I just felt that proper context was sort of necessary to sort of understand why BTS fell off so hard. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice day.